Good evening, everyone. My name is Pamela Uppal-Sandhu, and I'm the Director of Policy as well as the Interim Co-Executive Director at the Ontario Nonprofit Network, ONN for short. I'm here today to ask you a question. Who cares for the people who care for community when the world is on fire? Nonprofits across Canada employ over 1 million people, 77% of whom identify as women, half are racialized, and nearly a third are immigrants. And they all have one thing in common. They are passionate about building careful communities. That is, communities full of care. I wish my question was rhetorical, but it's not. I also wish I came bearing some good news, but I do not. Some of you are probably thinking that this is an age-old question. Nonprofit workers have always been undervalued and underpaid. Of course this is true, but what I want to describe to you today is relatively a new challenge for fair, safe, and dignified working conditions, decent work for short, that we're grappling with, that no one is talking about, nor is prepared for. Currently, the climate nonprofit workers are tasked to deliver care in is deeply intolerant. Extreme polarization, politicization of progressive public policy, and in some cases, nonprofits and charities, backlash to DEI language and initiatives, othering of trans people, refugees, immigrants, low-income people, people experiencing homelessness, mental health and addiction concerns, and ecosystems of mis and disinformation now fueled by AI are all making it harder for our nonprofit workers to do their jobs, like I've never seen before. There are tangible impacts of these headwinds on our workers. Let me share some stories. I'm hearing from frontline workers that they are being attacked, filmed, and trolled by the broader public for doing their jobs. They are being told their jobs are a waste of taxpayer dollars. I'm hearing from leaders that nothing has prepared them to defend their organization's missions in new lawsuits. I'm hearing from advocates about the never-ending fatigue of following every advocacy rule in the book, but not being heard by governments. I'm hearing from Black, Indigenous, and trans workers in our sector about scalebacks to equity work and the job losses that are following, and the danger they feel in speaking up about anti-Black racism, anti-Indigenous racism, and anti-trans rhetoric. I'm hearing from our arts and culture colleagues that they're facing the worst of the affordability crisis. I'm hearing from all workers about the vicarious trauma they carry when caring for people. I see this on my own team. It's getting harder and harder to care for people. And yes, we continue to fight to protect any of the decent work gains we've made over the last decade for better wages, more pension offerings, and widespread health and dental benefits. Because during times of economic uncertainty and austerity, when we need to do more with less, it is these gains that are threatened. This is the change in Canada and its impact on our workers that philanthropy must contend with in a meaningful way. For the past decade, ONN has worked to fundamentally shift the conversation about work in the nonprofit sector by building a decent work movement alongside nonprofits, their workers, and funders of all kinds. 10 is a big milestone, but in movement building, it is just a drop in the bucket. Changing centuries of inequitable systems takes time and patience. It takes care, creativity, nerve, strength, allyship, and a will. What I've learned is that our successes are predicated on trust-based philanthropy that allows us to be experimental, building worker power so they can demand better working conditions for themselves, deep curiosity and commitments of nonprofits to go on this journey with us, and good, strong partners to champion decent work. So, let me try to answer my own initial question. Who cares for the people who care for community when the world is on fire? The answer is philanthropy. At its best, philanthropy can be agile, rapid, creative, and powerful. And I'm not just talking about giving more money, or in better ways, or for specific budget lines. I'm talking about leading the charge, powering big and creative ideas that advance decent work for our workers so they can navigate the changing Canada I just described. I'm talking about activating sector-driven ideas that center people doing care work in our communities in your short-term and long-term planning. What are some big and creative ideas? I have a couple of examples. How about a pooled fund for nonprofits to pay into and draw from to top up wages for their workers during leaves like maternity, parental leave, adoption, or caregiving leave? How about an SOS grant, a staff operating support grant that is restricted for investing in an organization's people and strengthening its decent work systems like wages, benefits, HR policies, PD, and wellness practices? The second one is not my idea. I'm borrowing this from our nonprofit ally south of the border. The world of work is shaped by intersecting systems of oppression, dictating who should do what type of work and for how much. These systems not only place value on our workers, but also are the undercurrent of what we are seeing in our communities today. But let me remind us all again, our workers are not overhead, but rather the foundation for strategy, capacity, fiscal health, and program impact. Our workers are not at the margins of the economy, but rather are doing the work that builds our economy. My call to action for philanthropy is simple. Join me in caring for our workers, who are the first line of defense on the ground for community when the world is on fire. Advance decent work, don't stop, don't go backwards. Our collective commitment to decent work will have ripple effects, helping to advance care in our communities, creating a careful Canada. Thank you.